Well, good morning and welcome to week 6 of Marketing 313, Retail and Merchandising. I'm Rod Ballard, and I think you're going to have a great week. Why? Because this is the week that your merchandising plan comes alive. First things first, what you'll be doing and learning this week. You'll be reading a lot, chapters 14, 15, 16, and 17. That means you'll be learning a lot too. Everyone loves case studies, or they should. Why? Ordinarily, case studies demonstrate how, in this case, retail and merchandising strategies, plans, and products are managed in the real world. This should be one of your favorite learning activities. You will also submit your merchandising plan, the PowerPoint, and be sure to read the instructions carefully. All of you have worked hard for this term to leading up to the PowerPoint, telling your story. I almost forgot. You'll also be completing quiz 6. Ben Franklin coined the phrase, failing to plan is planning to fail. This is true with most things. We can't wing everything, or we'll make a mess of things. We prepare, we take dead aim at our goals, our intentions, our objectives, and no, it isn't ready, fire, and then aim. We take dead aim first, and once we're sure, we pull the trigger. This is good management practices. And speaking of management, who do you think is involved in implementing the merchandising plan? A management team comprised of executive management, likely back at corporate headquarters. Then there's finance and accounting who watch the spending and commitments. Marketing. Marketing is key to this plan. You've completed the marketing research, and you know who your customers are, who they will be, and what motivates them to come to your store to buy from you. Operations looks after the floor plan, receiving and shipping, material handling. Sometimes the store footprint is to match as much as possible to another company's store. Think Home Depot. They're generally laid out the same. Grocery stores differ sometimes, but the ones calling the shots include the local store manager, department managers, often someone from corporate that aids and assists the rollout without getting in the way. The larger the company, like Home Depot, the greater the buying power. How do products vary in price from one store to another for the same exact product? A Black & Decker power drill is a Black & Decker power drill, yet Lowe's sells it for one price, Home Depot sells it for another. And Menards, a hardware store chain in the Midwest, they've got this everything is 11% off special. As you'd expect, the price of the drill is usually higher, and sometimes even by 11%, but they do things differently. Upon checkout, they issue a Menards rebate, and the consumer fills out the rebate and mails or emails to Menards headquarters along with a copy of the receipt of what they purchased. 2 copies of the receipt are given to the consumer when checking out, so Menards has thought this out pretty well. 6 weeks later, an obscure envelope arrives. It doesn't say Menards rebate inside. In fact, it looks much like unidentified junk mail than a rebate check from Menards. I wonder how many of those get pitched without the consumer realizing it. Menards could tell us to the penny. It's part of their merchandising strategy. Uncashed rebate checks amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. But there's more to the story. Another 20% or more of shoppers lose the receipts and coupons, or they fail to send in the repaid application to Menards corporate. I wonder how much money that amounts to. Again, Menards could tell us to the penny. It's part of the plan, which means it's measured. Finally, those doggone rebate checks, the ones that we've been waiting for 6 weeks, they can only be spent at Menards toward purchasing items at Menards. That is, they keep the money in-house, and the consumer winds up in an endless cycle of 11% off. You wait, you go to Menards, you redeem the coupon, along with paying cash for whatever the coupon doesn't cover. Among other reasons, that is why competition is good for consumers. Competing companies, the industry, and the economy, we consumers have choices, and with Price Match in play at most retailers, we can just about shop where we like for most items. It's up to competing stores to slug it out over price, stock, and service, all of the things we look for when making a purchase. How is it for the company? A gold standard reputation and brand go a long way with consumers. With the ubiquitous internet, it only takes a few pound signs on X, remember Twitter, on X, and other sites to harm a store's reputation or a brand's reputation. The industry? Well, they keep track of things. I know this looks like an eye exam chart, but stay with me here. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, U.S. retail sales grew 17% from 2020 to 2021. That is from $5.6 billion in sales during 2020, it increased to $6.5 billion in 2021. Not too shabby. There's an interesting oops here in the U.S. Census Bureau's website. How can 2021 U.S. retail sales be estimated at $6.5 billion in 2021, and men's clothing stores have $8.3 billion in revenue during the same period in 2021? I'll leave that for you to ponder rather than figuring out here and now, but the point of the slide is to illustrate just how big the retail industry is in the United States. And if that weren't enough, how about global retail sales, not just in the U.S., according to Oberlo, grew to $26 trillion, that's with a T, in 2021, up to $29.7 trillion just last year in 2023. The retail industry is booming, and retailers move heaven and heck to earn their fair share of this market, you can be sure. Back to your plan. I hope you like that little retail road trip. The blueprints leads to finished facilities, and which lead to delivered inventory with the requisite material handling equipment, barcode scanners, and now Q scanners. They keep track of inventory location and volume, and the new retail store is off to the races. The entire world learned a hard lesson about supply chain management during COVID. I've postulated before many now know that lockdowns didn't accomplish a thing, but to severely damage almost every industry and every household. Didn't prevent COVID or the spread, regardless of what questionable numbers happened to be reported. The old saying, liars figure and figures lie, it may be applicable to some of those wishful thinking who are reporting numbers during COVID. Anyway, any break in the supply chain keeps just-in-time, well-planned-out inventory from sustainability. That supply chain has been optimized by each company in the chain so that there is very little idle inventory to be taxed and at any point in time, so that just-in-time delivery to the end user is so precise that we've almost taken it for granted that the stores will have what we need when we need it, right? Some say that grocers have about 3 days of food on the shelves. It's measured that closely. Glad we're back on reliability road again, aren't you? The floor plan. What products go where? Those end caps catch every shopper's eye and are highly coveted by vendors. Those who do the most business with the retailer, the volume that is, typically have dibs on where the product is situated in the store. Upper and lower shelves are typically above the natural view of most shoppers, and the middle to upper middle shelves are about where the casual glance takes the shopper, so it's easy to find, and the most popular moving items can usually be found on those middle and upper middle shelves. Notice anything wrong with this kiosk far right in the picture, besides the fact that there is no salesperson to be found? With the out-of-control theft that has sprung up in certain cities in the past few years, merchants can't leave much inventory out in sight for fear of theft. It could be that the lessee of the kiosk has called it quits already for good, like many retailers in the Northwest and further south into some major California cities, as you probably very well know. Here's the big deal about well-placed inventory. It moves. Tax on inventory, as I mentioned earlier, is about 1.5% per month, so we see that idle inventory takes its toll on the bottom line. It's better to sell at some profit and run a sale than to write off the inventory and to avoid the taxes.